Hello, this is Daniel, and today I'm presenting a Warhammer 3 Tyrion Strong Start Beginner Guide for a PvP campaign. So the first thing we'll ask ourselves is, what does Tyrion have on the rest of the High Elves? Well, he has better relations, which means you'll get easier non-aggression pacts, defensive alliances, which leads to easier confederations. He can construct the Shrine of Cain faster, so if you want to pull the Shrine of Cain, you can go ahead and do so, being that he is of the lineage of Anarion. A recruitment duration, -1 for infantry and cavalry units. What does this mean to you? It means that Silver Helms with Shields, Sword Masters of Hoeth, and Dragon Princes will all be recruited in one turn instead of two. Phoenix Guard will be recruited in 2 turns instead of 3. Upkeep, -50%. That means with things being cheaper, you'll be able to create your second army faster. Plus the recruit rank for Lothar and Seaguard units. That means that if you go into buffing Lothar and Seaguard, the difference between a level 7 Lothar and Seaguard and a level 7 Archer is 7 melee attack, 26 melee defense, 7 more damage, 16 versus large, and 16 less range. But that's a huge statistical difference. So if you're fighting early to mid game, this is definitely something that you want to leverage in your campaign. So let's go into the campaign. Now, one thing I will say is, do not pause or rewind the video if you intend to take the Tyrion challenge at the end. The Tyrion challenge is simply, can you go ahead and get 10 settlements in 10 turns? As far as levels and difficulty, I find the best in PvP to be hard easy, normal easy for the first 3 to 5 turns, with the expectation that no player manually fights battles for the first 3 to 5 turns. Obviously, if you have 8 people playing, you don't want everyone fighting their first 3 battles so that they don't take casualties. You want to get the game progressing. Also, to save you time, I'm going to place the difficulty on easy. That way you don't have to watch me fight out these battles. While this campaign beginner guide is for a strong start for Tyrion, it is not a battle guide. First thing I'll do is take my hero and place it upon my lord. Gonna double check, make sure I got the settings right. Good. I'm gonna pick replenishment after I auto resolve. Let's just get through this pathing, because there are 4 things. If you don't take away anything but 4 things in this video, here's what I want you to take away. 1, find the optimal pathing for your start. 2, build enough lords. 3, trade or sell settlements. 4, be open to pulling AI factions into war and join wars for money. In diplomacy, first I'm looking at Avalorn. Gonna get my trade agreement up. Second will be Eltharion. I really don't care how soon I confederate him. He's a 3rd or 4th confederation. Then I'll go back to Avalorn and I'm going to join their war to increase my relations with them. And I'm choosing military access instead of the money because I want to get a defensive alliance as soon as possible with Avalorn. I'm going to go for the Elven Garden so I can get replenishment from my noble, and I'm going to go for the homestead for food and replenishment to increase my tiers as quickly as possible. Next, I'll create another lord. My first lord is going to be a prince because he's going to be my recruit lord. I also want the increase in auto-resolve power that a lord gives, or a prince gives. And that is my first turn. I've got my recruitment done. Now the reason why I'm choosing rangers for my first 2 recruitment is because if I end up fighting another player, I'm going to want to send in the rangers against his bleak swords, and rangers will make quick work of bleak swords, especially with a heaven mage casting harmonic divergence. However, I would probably prioritize the cavalry first and infantry second. Next, we're going to be moving our lord to Angriel. This is going to save us a turn. Most newer players, I find, go from the Tower of Lycian to Lothran, and this is going to waste you a turn. What you want to do is put Tyrion in Force March and move him over to Angriel. That way, you save a turn. I'm going to put it in Steel Technology because in this run-through, I'm going to assume that I don't have a nearby opponent. If I do have a nearby opponent, I'll keep the mage in Eltharion. Next, for technology, I'm going to Archery Prowess to reduce my reload time, and then I'll be going into Naval Discipline and Appointed Sea Masters. Always quickly check to see if you have anything to do in Diplomacy. I'll auto-battle this and loot and occupy for the replenishment. And again, I'll be making Rangers. Next, I'm going to make an Archmage, because eventually I am going to want my Tyrion to be the one who's recruiting. And if Tyrion is recruiting, then I need someone to lead his army. And if I'm not going to have a mage, well, the Archmage can fulfill that role. So now I've got my 3 lords, and it's only turn 2. I can go ahead and take this out next turn. I am going to need to repair this building at Angriel. Or am I? Actually, let's not. Let's not. And that's the turn. So again, the 4 things that we're working on: 1, optimal pathing; 2, building enough lords and using that main army to, well, using the extra lords to leech XP off of the main army while supply lines are low and I don't have a lot of units in my armies. Also, we want to trader settlements and pull AI factions into wars and join wars for money. Next, I'm going to take Tyrion, send him over to attack the Shrine of Eltharion. Now this is one battle that, to be honest, I probably would try not to fight against a player, and I would auto-battle this one. If you are finding yourself to having issues with battles, you might want to actually go ahead and use the Invocation of Isha early on. But if that's not a problem for you, go ahead and continue as the campaign guide suggests. Now I'm putting them all into camp stance. That way they're getting 5+ melee defense and 5+ leadership to better their auto-resolve and hopefully take less casualties. I'll be sacking the Shrine of Eltharion. and taking to Angriel. The mage will take the shrine, and my recruiter will step out, go as close as he can to the orcs, and will eventually continue recruiting. However, before I do that, I'm going to sell Angriel, pretty much depriving him of any money. Going to demand he give me 2,000 for the Shrine of Eltharion, or Eltharion. And then I want to declare war on him. However, Yvress is at war with him, so I'm going to join his war. I'm actually going to pick all of these if I can. And I'll even give him the 373 gold because I want to get my relations with him up as soon as possible. And I just hit a -20 because I gave him gifts. Oh. What I want to do is recruit a noble here. That way I can start to get my replenishment going for the army. And I'll recruit archers down here. I'll recruit one more lord here to go ahead and leech XP. The other thing that you can always do with these lords is once you're done with them, you eventually can change them to merchant lords. So once you have a lot of resources, this will go ahead and up your tradable resources even when that lord is not on the field. Now I'll go back here and I'm going to pair this one, destroy these two because I'm not interested in creating any more rangers for a little bit. Actually, you know what? I think I will just delete that one. And that is my turn. We got a rebellion over here, but we'll make money off of that eventually. And if you do play on hard, you'll be able to fight these battles on your own and achieve the same results. It's not a big deal. However, player skill will come into effect when you're fighting your third battle. Let's attach the noble onto him, giving him strong replenishment. We'll go to attack the orc. And start corralling all our lords in this general direction. You can only have 4 lords maximum participating in an army in a battle. We'll loot and occupy for that good replenishment, and as you can see, no casualties. We'll switch off to recruit. Get our landmark over here, repair this one. Switch this to a money building. And we'll check our diplomacy, make sure we're not missing something, and actually we can get a defensive with Eltharion. And after that, we'll build an outpost so that we can get some intrigue from Galen Vale. Now it's turn 4. Either on turn 4 or turn 5, it's best to start recruiting. Whichever you do, it's up to you. Obviously, since I'm not affected in replenishment, I'm full. I'm going to go for Secure Influence. I'll just upgrade my mage for good measure. This Archmage will be my replacement for Tyrion when the time comes. And I'll give the Rebellion Army one more turn. Once we finish over here with the provinces south of Yvres, I'll force march my army one more time. And as you can see, you can get a Pyrrhic victory right here. Now it's turn 5, last turn for normal. Part of the reason why I'm creating this video is because I've had several people who participate in the head-to-head Warhammer 3 server ask for people to start presenting you tutorials. That way they have a stronger start in the long wars on our Discord server. We'll bring him over here and he can start recruiting. We'll loot and occupy. And we'll do our last bit of recruitment. Again, we're looking good on this end, so I'm actually going to go for the trade, even though I don't actually have trade, so actually I'll probably go for replenishment. I could go for Weapon Master, but I think I'm going to need the replenishment, so I'll go for that one. Since we do like this building, we'll probably just let it go for now. Upgrade this one. Upgrade this one. If I had an enemy that I was fighting earlier than turn 20, I probably would delay this tech right here, and I'd probably continue to go for rebuilding. But in this case, as a generic build, I'll just wait. Not this turn, but the next turn, I'll switch out my policy for buildings, and I'll activate one of my rights. Now we're on turn 5. We're past turn 5. We're on turn 6, so I'm going to take it up to normal because this isn't going to really change anything anymore except for one thing. I don't really want to go back into the negatives, which will happen if I take -5 faction wide, so I'm probably just going to go with the +10. Now the sooner you get Intrigue, the better, because the sooner you can confederate Eltharion. As a matter of fact, I probably want to step out right here. Now, I've fought this battle before, and when I fight this battle, I don't take any casualties. I'll actually take more casualties when I'm fighting this battle. Or, I'm sorry, I'll take less casualties when I'm fighting this battle than I'll even get on easy. So to save you again time of me fighting the battle, and that will be the last one I do. And for the rest of it, we will be on normal. Typically, you'd play that one out, and other players cannot actually. And other players can't actually fight quest battles, so that won't be an issue. Now we'll force march out. Next turn, he'll go to Carnthel, and then again we'll force march over here. Now we're going to move over here to Eltharion, and I'm going to put my finger on backspace, and I'm going to right click on attack and backspace, and now I'm in his zone and he's in my zone. So now he can't move unless he attacks me, and I'll continue to recruit. I'm going to change this to, actually not yet. I'm going to change this to militia camp because I'm going to need some rangers. And I'm going to change this to elven artisan. Ooh, actually, I'm gonna keep going here. We'll try to get this one with militia camp. Now that we're done with archery prowess, we'll go to naval discipline. We do not want to have any diplomatic relations with the other elves, other than Eltharion, Avalorn, and Eltharion. We're probably going to take the rest of the territory by force. Okay, now I'm going to disconnect her, and she is going to continue on her way and start stealing technology. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ranged. So I'm going to add. So I'm just going to go add one more for 8. Usually you don't want more than 7 in PvP, but since this is single player, if you have somebody close, go ahead and probably get a spearman. At this point, this really doesn't matter anymore for her. She's just stealing technology from now on. If you want to build an outpost to get more from Eltharion, you can. However, you might end up confetting him early, so I don't suggest it. What I do suggest is using your Intrigue to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, increase your rest by 5. Actually, you know what? Since we increase him by 6. Increase your relations by 6 with the Everest. That way we can get him confetted as soon as possible. We'll decline her, So we're not looking to get into any other entanglements. Getting into trade deals when you're trying to go to war with somebody will make you unreliable if you have to switch over really quickly. And we don't want any of that. Next, got a couple choices here. I think since I'm doing so well with regeneration, with replenishment, I can just move them on over. Next, I'm going to declare war with Saphery, hoping that Saphery comes down to the bottom settlement. We're going to continue recruiting over here. And it looks like I'm not going to quite make it. He's not willing to join the war quite yet, but we're getting close, getting close. Probably should have done that a little bit earlier. I don't think it's worth it to upgrade this to 4,000. 2,000 for 4 Intrigue is quite a deal, though. If you really want to get more Intrigue again, go ahead and get an outpost with Eltharion. Eltharion is probably going to be one of the later High Elves that we can federate, so it's not such a big deal. Next, we're going to take a look at our victory condition. So our short victory condition is the Cult of Pleasure and defeating Naggarond. The Cult of Pleasure is around here. And Naggarond is way up here. So when we think about intermediate tactics, we're going to always need to look at our victory condition, but it's something that you should always do whenever you're in a campaign. We'll make it to the port. And we will loot and occupy because, for a couple of reasons. Let's take a look. So you'll notice the port, it's level 2. This one, the White Tower of Hope, is level 3. And whenever you loot and occupy, you always have a chance of keeping the settlement at the same tier. We didn't get it on this roll. So we're going on Merchant Lord for him. I don't think we'll need a recruiter. Now we got a little while until we recruit this army, so we're going to take the money. I should have caveated that they weren't supposed to be able to move here, but they can because my bubble reaches their bubble. But they wouldn't be able to go. They wouldn't be able to go beyond that. Take another look at Yvres, see how he's doing. Try to get him to join us in our war. In my intermediate and advanced guide that will come out a little bit later, I'll actually talk about short victories and how you want to path your way towards them. And we'll talk more about what kind of unit compositions you actually want at what times you'll want them. Now we'll take her and get her going. So the reason why I want to go to the east is for a couple of reasons. One, I plan on sending her all the way to Emmerich, which I should get to sometime around turn 23 to 26. In addition, I'll meet a lot of trade partners along the way in the Empire. And I'll get a lot of non-aggression packs that they'll pay me for, which will help fuel my economy. And I think that's it. Now, another thing that's variable in this is a event where I got 15 more intrigue. You may or may not get that. If you wanted to get your army moving off the ground even a little bit faster, I probably could have afforded to create a lord over here and actually brought 2 units over here. And then on this turn, I would have moved him over here. And this is just an example of how going down your blue line is going to help you out. My recruitment slot increases. I'm increasing my army capacity at a very fast rate, and next turn I'll be ready to attack. And I should be getting another mission. Oh, I already got the mission. So after this one, I'll probably go ahead and do the Sungfeng mission. You might be able to afford it to do it earlier. It just depends on what your replenishment looks like. Let's move these lords up. And next turn will be turn 10, my final turn, and I'll be attacking Vol's Anvil. You could attack it a turn earlier, maybe get a little farther. This part is going to be variable based upon where Count Noctilus is and if there's a second army. In this particular case, there isn't, but there could be. I'll change this to Rebuild Lost Splendor. And I'll choose Food. Food and Replen. Now, military alliance. You do not want to give a military alliance to somebody that you're trying to confederate with. And we are so close. Going to be able to confederate next turn. Okay, just wanted to make sure. And that's the turn. Now, along the way, you want to start stealing technology. That way, you get through your tech tree faster. More than happy to join this war, better our relations even further. And let's not forget the Tyrion challenge. Without rewinding or pausing this video, I want to see if you can remember how to get 10 settlements in 10 turns. See if you see the same success in your campaign, and leave me a comment below detailing if this helped you out or not, and what other factions you'd like to see a strong start for. And for my final turn, I'll be taking the Invocation of Assyrian, getting that negative 15% building cost. And the reason why I'm doing it now is because I'm just about ready to hit tier 3, and it only takes 4 turns to build, which means all the buildings that I want to build, I can go ahead and get that reduction in cost once my tier 3 settlement is built. That's it for me. This is Daniel, signing out. Have a good one, fellas. God bless.